Alright, last weekend I went out to the theaters to see Dandadan: The First Encounter, which is a theatrical screening for Dandadan's first 3 episodes with a special pre-screening interview with the voices of Momo Ayase and Ken Okarun Takakura. So overall, it was about a 90-minute showing with the actual screening only being around an hour. And I've gotta say, I was super impressed to find that my theater was actually about halfway full. Lots of people of all shapes and sizes came to see this film. And I personally took my mother to see it with me. I know, a weird choice, but as she's aged, my mother has mellowed out to anime, which she saw before as just children's cartoons, but now she actually kind of likes the medium. So it's also not too surprising to hear that the screening grossed $1 million in the US, because if my Hodunk theater in the middle of East Jesus Nowhere has that many people showing up to it, then that means there is some sort of movement around the series and a lot of general excitement for it. So for the pre-screening of the film, we were shown a half-hour sit-down interview with various members of the cast and production from Science Saru, including the man himself, the creator of Dandadan, Yukinobu Tatsu. Honestly, I don't remember too much from it other than Natsuki Hane and Shion Wakayama joking around as if they were the characters they were portraying. And I must say though, what I didn't like about this is that the pre-screening was before the show. Obviously, it's a pre-screening, but I didn't like that it spoiled what would happen in the showing itself. It was cool to have everyone's insights, but yeah, they spoiled a lot as well. Also, my mother, who is 60 years old, didn't quite enjoy this pre-screening either. She had trouble keeping up with the subtitles, and generally, she's sort of out of the loop with anime, so I didn't even think she realized it was part of the showing officially until like halfway through. Though I think you'll be surprised what she thought about the actual episodes though. Real quick, I'm a partner with Gamer Subs, so if you use code CTactics, you'll get 10% off all orders and I'll get a kickback. Thanks for your support. So the showing itself started with Dandadan's opening, which prior to this I hadn't seen at all. No leaks whatsoever. I went into this like a raw egg and cake batter. Because of that, I was able to experience the opening with loudspeakers and a gigantic, beautiful screen. I mean, the opening and it was, well, it was life-changing to a degree. Prior to this, I have seen Mugen Train and Spy Family in theater, so we never got to see the openings for those. But this opening was biblical. I mean, the music was loud and punchy. The visuals were one step beyond crisp. It was unlike anything you'd see on a streaming service. They seemed lifelike on the big screen, and especially with the way all of the characters were animated too. I immediately think about Momo's dance moves in the opening and just being breathtaking by the entire experience. I mean, she just seems so grand on the screen. Same with Ira. I think these two characters stole the show in the opening personally. Also, usually I skip openings to save time, and I did this with Attack on Titan, just so you know how down badly I am when it comes to crashing out with anime openings. Wait, Jesus, what the hell did I just say? But I will be watching these openings, for sure. Now, on to the meat of this video. What were the episodes like itself? Well, I won't be giving too many spoilers, but I will say that I loved this entire showing. Every episode was immensely entertaining from a both visual and sound design perspective. By the end of the showing, no, I think it was before the end of it. I think maybe halfway through episode 2, I just knew that for me, that this honestly couldn't compare to JJK Season 2 or Attack on Titan the final season, which are some of my favorite animated shows. The action was just so fluid in a way that I think neither of those could pull off in the way that Dandadan did. Now, basically what I'm doing here is kind of like comparing like a 9.9 to a 10.0, so don't go in expecting this exaggerated difference in quality. What I'm trying to say though is that there was no compromise between visuals and its fidelity and the animation. We'll have to see for the other episodes, but it truly does feel as if Dandadan was made with a very good budget and a very good work schedule, which recent leaks sort of confirmed this to be the case. But I gotta say, the fight in episode 2 with the statue was absolutely bonkers. At one point, the color scale changed to black and white, and it just felt so dynamic while being so fluid. I can't imagine how much time and effort and work went into these episodes over the years. Also, I just realized I'm going out of order, so let's reel it back in with episode 1. Initially, I was worried they would take some of the fan service elements from volume 1 and base the tone of the series just around that. For those wondering, when I say fan service, there are some shall we say, interesting scenes with the MC, Momo Ayase, in her underwear as aliens attempt to probe her and remove her organs. I will admit, it was a little spicy considering the age of Momo, but for the most part, it was all contained within episode 1. Now, there was some fan service jiggle physics later in episode 3 with Seiko, but it's not, come on, who cares? After all, she's a gilf, so we'll allow it for now or something, I don't know. Outside of that, the first episode quite literally jumps directly into our introduction to Turbo Granny, voiced by Monkey D. Luffy and legendary actress Mayumi Tanaka. She was absolutely incredible as Turbo Granny, and every action scene involving that character was absolutely mental. Episode 1 was a visual feast for the eyes, from the psychedelic probing scene to the scary introduction to Turbo Granny and beyond. Episode 1 shows the variety of Dandadan to blend paranormal, UFO, action, shonen, and just really, really good and funny comedy. As with episode 3, it was so good. Maybe my favorite out of the 3, but I really can't decide for sure. They were all just so good. I'll say what I noticed by the time we got to episode 3 was that the anime successfully captured the movements and body language that the manga somehow does so well despite it being 2D. I am glad to relay to you all that all of those are beautifully captured in the anime. From Momo's gentle kick on Okarune's butt at the end of episode 1 to Seiko being every bit of a grandmother in her movements, tone, and body language, the anime so perfectly nailed these crucial details, because these details are also crucial to the manga too. So when it comes to that stuff, rest assured, Science Saru, they nailed it. Now, at the end of the show, I was surprised to find that my mother absolutely adored all 3 of the episodes. She pretty much had no complaints whatsoever and didn't even mind the fan service, which I found extra surprising too. She also didn't have issues following any of the subtitles like she did with the pre-screening. I also asked her what her favorite characters were, and she really enjoyed Okarune the most, because she saw in him a little boy trying his best to not only impress Momo, but break out of his shell and confront the world with all of its dangers. She also loved Seiko as well, and I don't want to say any spoilers with her characters because I think her involvement in episode 3 is truly special and should be left to you to experience alone, but she liked Seiko because she herself, well, is a grandmother and liked that she was the no-nonsense caregiver who protected her family while also being a subversion of the witch trope as well. So instead of just being a batty old lady, she's badass and imposing, and I think that's probably how my mother wants to be seen too, and I think she's more than earned that. Yeah, I said it, my mom is the coolest ever. So moving on to the ending, this is another one where I was so surprised. Not breathtaking like I was in the opening, mind you, but the ending theme is all focused on Turbo Granny. I won't say too much more than that, but I also will say I'm not skipping the ending to this either. It's just so much fun and full of joy that I think perfectly captures and encapsulates the Dandadan experience as a whole. It's fun! So that's it. That's my experience with Dandadan the First Encounter. I absolutely adored and treasured this experience from beginning to end, and I was lucky enough that my mother wanted to come along with me too and had just as much fun as I did. Let's see if we can get this video to 150 likes. And another quick reminder, I have a second channel where I cover Dandadan weekly, so if you are caught up with the manga like I am, then head on over there and subscribe. We blew away expectations recently when in less than 2 weeks we went from 800 subs to already over 1,000 and growing. So go check me out over there. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.